Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Crystal. Last time, we had an encounter with a strange red-haired young man here in Cherry Grove City. We also delivered the mystery egg to Professor Alman. We got the directive to go around Johto and collect gym badges, because this is a Pokemon game. And up until 2016, that was the status quo. Anyway, it is in fact a new day that I'm recording this, so I'm going to head over here and grab yet another berry, because why not? It's free, it's right here, it's pretty helpful, so I'm going to grab it. Anyway, with that, just had to sneak in that one little wild encounter, get hit by a tackle one time, so I have to go back and heal. Ay ay ay. Alrighty. Now, one thing I really like about Generation 2 that is completely irrelevant to anyone who is not video editing this series is the fact that pretty much everything in this game fades to white, which means it's gonna be really fun to do those ninja edits. One thing that was a really annoying bit of editing yellow was that little flash of white whenever you would transition maps. Anyway, right here we have a Poliwag, which brings me to the new encounters on this route, and there's actually quite a few of them. During the daytime you can catch Caterpie, which will evolve into Metapod and later into Butterfree. Also in the daytime you have Weedle, that will evolve into Kakuna and then into Beedrill. During the nighttime you have Zubat, which will evolve into Golbat and later into Crobat. At nighttime, as you can see, we have Poliwag right here, and wow, that did a lot of damage. At nighttime we have Poliwag, which will evolve into Poliwhirl. It will also evolve into Politoed if you trade it while holding a King's Rock, but as I mentioned previously, that's not something we're going to be doing in this series, not something we have access to, so I'm not going to go over it. And it also has another evolution that we cannot get yet because we do not have the requisite item. Everyone's having fun battling. You should too. I am not going to go back and get that Poison Cure Berry by Mr. Pokemon's house just because it's a little bit of a trek through the grass. Well, actually, I think I will, for reasons that might become apparent as we make our way up here. Anyway, only in the morning you can encounter Lediba. Wow, no encounters. In the morning you can encounter Lediba, which will evolve into Ledian, and at night you can encounter Spinarak, which will evolve into Ariados. Now, there is one Pokemon on this route that I really think I would like to catch for my team. So I think, actually, I'm going to try and just walk around in the grass here and see if I can find it. Hopefully I'll have some good luck. Oh wow, there it is now. I actually would like to capture Zubat, because Zubat is actually a pretty good Pokemon, all things considered. A lot of people find it really annoying just because it appears everywhere in caves and things like that, but it's actually quite good, and it's a Pokemon that I very rarely actually use in personal playthroughs, and it's something that I haven't used on screen before, so I think it would be fun to try and check out. So this will actually be the first time we are using a Pokeball on screen, so hopefully we can actually get this one. 1, 2, 3, caught. As you can see, a Pokeball needs to shake 3 times in order to capture a Pokemon. There are no critical captures in this game, so there's no one shake, done deal type thing. Also worth noting, I'm not going to go over the specifics, but the capture formula has changed drastically from Generation 1, so any tricks or techniques that you might have had for catching Pokemon in Red, Blue, and Yellow, in terms of number manipulation and things like that, they won't work. Anyway, when you catch a Pokemon, it will newly add the data to the Pokedex, like so. Zubat, the Bat Pokemon. During the day, it gathers with others and hangs from the ceilings of old buildings and caves. Very cool. That will add the caught entry into your Pokedex, and that is basically the most complete an entry for a Pokemon can be. Full completion on the Pokedex means you have that level of completion for every single Pokemon. Very neat. Anyway, as you can see, we have Zubat right here, and I think what I want to do is I want to switch it out into the front. Because, since we don't have any more efficient way of doing it, I just lost, so I'm trying to find more Pokemon. Wait, you look weak. Come on, let's battle. Rude. Anyway, I love this music, and I gotta say, when this music started playing during that Pokemon Direct a couple weeks back, I almost lost it. I was almost more excited for the re-release than for the new game, believe it or not, just because I love Johto. Anyway, as I was starting to say earlier, Zubat's pretty weak, and the way that a Pokemon gains experience is it needs to participate in a battle. So, at the outset, the best way to train up weak Pokemon is to put it in the front of the battle, and then on the first turn immediately switch into something stronger. So that is what I'm going to do right here. So we're going to bring in Totodile because he can definitely take a hit, and then we are going to attack this Rattata, and this way it will split the experience. The experience yield from a battle is equally distributed between each Pokemon that takes part in the battle, unless you have an equipable item from later in the game that can sort of weight it towards a Pokemon if the Pokemon holding that item participates in the battle itself. Otherwise, it will be spread pretty much completely evenly. Anyway, Youngster Joey was defeated. This guy is iconic, let me tell you. I lost again, doggone it. And he gives us 64 money. Do I have to have more Pokemon in order to battle better? No, I'm sticking with this one no matter what. Listen, can I get your phone number? I'll ring you for some battles. I'm a rookie too, so I think it'd be a good motivator. Now, you can collect phone numbers and add them to your Pokegear for regular trainers in the game, and this is the first trainer that will allow you to do this. Now, unlike in the remake, the phone number list in the Pokegear is not capable of storing every single possible phone number in the game. It can only store around 10 or so, and your mother and Professor Elm already take up a couple of those slots. So I'd recommend being extremely selective as to who you add into your phone directory, although honestly there's probably only about, I guess, 4 or 5 people that I really recommend getting numbers from later on in the game. So I think just as a little bit of a joke, I'm going to actually add this guy. Alrighty, there we go. We registered Joey's number. Normally I wouldn't register a regular trainer like this, but this guy's pretty iconic to the Pokemon series for a reason that will become apparent as he phones us in the future. I'll ring you whenever I get the urge to battle. Yes, this is also a way you can rematch trainers in the game. If you store a trainer's phone number in your Pokegear, they might call you asking for a rematch, and you can go back and battle them again. This is a really, really nice upgrade from Generation 1, because in Generation 1, once you beat all the trainers, there was no way of getting additional money in the game except for fighting A, the final boss, or B, wild Pokemon and using the move Payday. So this adds another mechanism for earning money and, of course, better experience, because I'm not sure if I've discussed this in any earlier episodes, but I should mention that a Pokemon trained by a trainer is automatically going to have a slightly better experience yield than Pokemon that you fight in the wild, because they are, of course, trained Pokemon, not just wild Pokemon, so they're going to be stronger, a little tougher to defeat, although the fact that this Pidgey's level 2 doesn't really help my case all that much. So yeah, definitely some interesting stuff to keep in mind. Anyway, right here, when you defeat a trainer's Pokemon and they have another one in the wings, you are allowed to switch before they bring out another Pokemon. This is really, really useful for switching back into Zubat and then back into Totodile to get that experience. Now, this is actually a toggleable option in the game. So if you go into the options on your main menu, there is an item named Battle Style, and the two options are Shift and Set. Shift means it will ask you if you want to switch every time you knock out an opponent's Pokemon. Set means it won't, and it'll more closely resemble battle facilities that appear in later Pokemon games like the Battle Tower and things like that. So, definitely worth keeping in mind. Alright, Youngster Mikey was defeated. That's strange, I won before. Well, maybe you just aren't good enough, kid. Trainer tips. You are going to be seeing these all around the world, and they all have some really helpful advice, so I recommend you check them out. No stealing other people's Pokemon. Pokeballs are to be thrown only at wild Pokemon. Yep, if you couldn't guess, if you try and chuck a Pokeball at a trainer's Pokemon, it's just straight up not going to work, and I'm pretty sure it also eats up your turn, so I just recommend not even trying it. I'm not a trainer, but if you look one in the eyes, prepare to battle. Oh yeah. Case in point, this kid right here. Instead of a bug Pokemon, I found a trainer. Alrighty. Now, I really love this little battle intro with the Pokeball and stuff. It is referenced exactly once in the remake. I'm not going to say where because it's a bit of a spoiler, but I think it's really awesome. Anyway, out comes Caterpie, and one thing I've neglected to mention thus far, but is probably one of the best features of this game, is what you saw right there. All of the front sprites of Pokemon in Pokemon Crystal are animated. And they're not animated like the way they are in Emerald, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Those ones have exactly 2 frames, and they just sort of distort the image to give the illusion of actual motion. These Pokemon are completely, fully animated. Like, they have all of these frames of animation. I think that's really, really cool. It's a level of detail we really didn't get back until Black and White, although even those sprites are a little, I don't know, weird. These sprites seem a lot more natural, and I feel like animation of Pokemon sprites really didn't reach this level again until, honestly, X and Y when they became models. So, yeah, props to the people that animated all of the Pokemon in Pokemon Crystal, because they're high quality. And the thing is, you only see a little short animation when they enter into battle. If you own a Pokemon and you check its status screen, it will actually have additional frames, and it might also blink occasionally and things like that, which is just a so neat detail. Like, I really love that about Crystal. It's one thing that really elevates it far above Gold and Silver, because Gold and Silver do not have these animated sprites. It's only Crystal that has it. So, yeah, definitely worth keeping in mind. It really doesn't affect the gameplay in any way. I just really like it. Anyway, right here we are on Route 31, and it's worth noting, if you did not go back and ask your mom about saving money, she would call you right around this spot, because of course, she's your mom, she has your phone number, and she would ask you right here, and I'm pretty sure you'd also get the number in your list anyway, although now that I think of it, you probably had that number from the start. Dark Cave. If Pokemon could light it up, I'd explore it. Anyway, on Route 31 right here, there are 2 new Pokemon that we can get. We can get Bellsprout, which will evolve into Weepinbell, and later into something else, but we don't have access to the item that we need yet. And you can also catch Ghastly at nighttime only, which will evolve into Haunter. And if you saw episode 1, you would know that it also evolves into Gengar if you trade it, but since I'm operating under the assumption that trading is not possible on your game if you're playing along, I'm not going to be going into detail about that. Anyway, we have a potion right here, which is really nice. And in fact, this is Dark Cave. Dark Cave also has a couple of Pokemon in it. As you can see, it is pitch black. But one thing that's worth noting is if you go into your Pokemon list, you can very, very briefly see the layout of the cave during the white transition. I don't know if that's coming through on the video. I think it is. It's only a couple of frames, but it's definitely worth noting. In this cave, you can catch Dunsparce, which is incredibly rare, although I believe later on in the game there is actually an opportunity to make it more common. And then in the morning, believe it or not, you can actually catch Teddiursa in here, which will evolve into Ursaring. I'm pretty sure in later games, Teddiursa is... Not later games, in Gold and Silver, Teddiursa is far rarer, and I think actually Teddiursa might be an exclusive to one of those two. Anyway, as you can see, there's also Geodudes in here, because why wouldn't there be? I'm just going to run from this guy, though, because it's a rock type. I have nothing really to do against rock types at the moment. And as you can see, there's an item up there, and I am really stubborn, and I am going to... Oh, I just jumped over a ledge. I'm going to try and see if I can get that item. Alrighty. Another Geodude right here. Anyway, one other little detail I can mention that I didn't mention last time, purely for the fact that I didn't know about it last time, is apparently if you go to your mom to switch daylight savings options between 11 p.m. and 1 in the morning, apparently... Come on, I can make it through here. Apparently, if you try and do that, she will claim that she lost the instruction manual to the Pokegear and will not allow you to change the time. Anyway, right here we have a potion. Apparently, the reason behind that is because the game wouldn't exactly know how to handle the fact that the day would also change if you were to shift daylight savings time during that window, which I did not know about before, and I'm trusting Bulbapedia's word on this one. But yeah, really, really interesting. Alright, I know there's a ledge around here somewhere. You know what, we're doing the little pause trick. Alright, I'm stuck in like a corner here, so let's try just going up this way, and hopefully we can get out of this cave, because, yeah, a little bit annoying right here going through this cave. Alright, got a Zubat right here. I think we'll actually switch over to Totodile and see if we can get level 5 on our own Zubat. Alright. Now, I'm not sure if I explicitly mentioned this in the first episode, but as you can see, all Pokemon, except for a few, are actually gendered in Pokemon Crystal. This was a feature added in Gold and Silver, and it remains for every single game onwards, and it's pretty critical to a huge mechanic that we've technically seen hints of already, but won't be getting into in great detail until a little bit later in the series. Alright, and Zubat does not get that level I wanted. Anyway, I'm gonna go equip another berry to my Totodile, and I think since we're here, I might as well just give one to Zubat. Although, now that I think of it, it might trigger, like, the instant we send Zubat out into battle. I'm not sure. We'll see. Anyway, let's see if we can use that pause trick to see where on Earth we are. Alright, I think we need to go up around here. I don't know. I'm wandering around with like a chicken with my head cut off. I should point out there is a move we are going to be getting access to later on, pretty shortly actually, that will allow us to see in dark caves like this, but honestly, the move is complete garbage in battle, and I figured it's just a potion in here, and it gives us a decent opportunity to train up our Pokemon a little, because as I mentioned before, just because of the really weird level curve in Johto, you're gonna want to get some little bits of training like this in wherever you can. Just maybe a level here, a level there, and it can really, really help you out in the long run. Anyway, Zubat actually gets a level right there. And let's see, where are we now? Alright, we're still sort of stuck. Where are we? Seriously, where are we? I have no idea where we are. You know what? I think I'm just gonna fast forward until we get out of here, to be honest. Oh wow, Totodile got level 10 in that battle. Really nice. Anyway, I'm not really going to fast forward actually, because I'm looking at a map and it looks like I'm actually supposed to go down this way and there's a ledge and I can just get out right there. So yeah, I did cave and I looked up a map, but we're out, so we're cool. Anyway, we have this little tree right here. You might have noticed a few on our journey already. Someone's going to point it out in the comments. We don't have the ability to deal with that yet, so yeah. Huh? I walked too far today looking for Pokemon. My feet hurt and I'm sleepy. If I were a wild Pokemon, I'd be easy to catch. This really sleepy guy is going to be important a little bit later. Anyway, here we have another fruit-bearing tree, and here is Bitterberry. This berry cures confusion, I think? You know what, I'm going to look it up really quick just so I don't get this wrong. Okay, yes, I was right. It does cure confusion, and the one thing I really wasn't sure on is what it became in later games. This berry was retooled into the Persim berry in later games. I caught a bunch of Pokemon. Let me battle with you. Alright, let's fight this guy. And I gotta say, I always love challenging trainers from the left because it means you and your opponent form the exact center of the Pokeball. Anyway, this right here is Bug Catcher Wade. This guy is interesting because, as far as I know, he is one of the few trainers in the game that will actually give you items if you let him call you on the phone. So if you register Bugcatcher Wade's phone number after defeating him, I believe he will actually randomly call you and give you various berries, which could be useful, but personally I don't think it's all that worth it because you can just go pick berries by yourself over the course of the game, and the more you play the game, which means the more time you allow him to call you, the more trees you have access to and the more berries you can get. So it might be useful early game, maybe, but like pretty much the only time I play... Oh wow, the berry does trigger. Huh. Okay. The only time I'm really going to be playing in the game, except for like grinding out levels, is going to be on screen, and I feel like it'd get kind of annoying if we had to drop everything and come back here, especially before we get the ability to fast travel. So it's there if you're curious about it, but I'm personally not going to make use of it. Anyway, down goes Caterpie, and I think just to expedite things, we are going to stay in with Totodile here, because this guy's got 4 Pokemon, which is quite a few by our standards, considering the most we've seen any trainer have by this point is, what, 2? So yeah. Anyway, unfortunately, since Poison Sting has like a 20 or 30% chance of poisoning, I got it because this game is so fair. So yeah, Totodile is poisoned, which is pretty bad. Now the nice thing about Generation 2 is, just like Generation 1, if you defeat a Pokemon on a turn that you would normally take poison damage, you will actually not take the poison damage. And that includes even if you stay in. Really interesting / random. And wow, a critical hit. That allows me to explain those. Critical hits basically mean it's like a 1 in 8 or 1 in 16 chance, something like that. Some moves have heightened ratios for it. Pokeball right there. Critical hits basically double the amount of damage an attack does. Also, as you can see, the poison does take effect outside of battle, as I have already mentioned, so that is something to be concerned about. Critical hits will not only double the amount of damage that a move does, I believe it will also ignore any modifications to the opponent's defensive stats. So, if your opponent is super high defense, if you score a critical hit, those modifications do not actually matter. One other thing involving the effectiveness of moves that I don't think I went over in the first episode, so I'm going to go over now, is the same type attack bonus. Basically, if your Pokemon knows a move that is the same type as the Pokemon itself, do we actually have any Pokemon that fit the bill for that? I don't think we do, actually. But once you get a Pokemon that knows the same type move as the type of the Pokemon, if the Pokemon uses that move, it will actually do 1.5 times damage. I found a good Pokemon at Dark Cave. I'm going to raise it to take on Faulkner. He's the leader of Violet City's gym. Interesting stuff. And right here, you can see we are here at Violet City. So, to give an example of same type attack bonus, or as it's more commonly known, stab, if you have a water type Pokemon and it uses a water type move, it will do more damage than if a normal type Pokemon used the water type move. Hopefully that makes sense. Hi there, did you visit Sprout Tower? Not yet, but I think we will soon. I came too far out, I'd better phone home. E.T. phone home. Anyway, here we are in Violet City with the awesome music that we're not going to hear for very long because we need to head into the Pokemon Center and heal because we are in a bit of a bad way. And I also think, now that we are here in Violet City, we are going to be ending things off. So, this past episode of Pokemon Crystal, we caught a brand new Pokemon for our team in the form of Zubat. Very, very cool. Poison flying type, and it knows Leech Life only, which is a little awkward. But yeah, very neat. And we made it here to Violet City, and next time on Pokemon Crystal, we are going to be exploring the area surrounding Violet City because there's some pretty interesting stuff in Crystal in particular that was not in Gold and Silver that I really, really want to talk about. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.